Hi, my name is Justin Miller, and I'm the webinar and video producer at Wowzer Media Systems, and I'm here with Tim Doherty. Tim, how's it going, man?
It's going okay considering. Thanks for looking me up this fine afternoon.
Well, I know you're in California. I know there is that shelter in place currently happening there, so you're at home.
Definitely, it's a unique experience. My entire family, children, everyone's at home. We're enjoying life. Fortunately, we have everything we need, and it's uh, it's been interesting.
Yeah,
I'm mindful of what's going on out there, and we're personally, us as a family, we're doing everything we can just to stay indoors and isolate.
yeah.
And I hope everyone else is doing the best they can to do the same.
We're doing okay out here in Denver. It's a little cold right now. It's snowing, but it's okay. But what I wanted to talk to you about is just with this global pandemic happening right now, with people who are now working from home, events are being closed. People are trying to figure out how exactly can I now live stream either say meetings maybe to the entire corporation or maybe add it into their current business models just because being so many people working from home it's been interesting, right? People have to figure out new solutions, and having the ability to live stream is a big benefit that I don't think a lot of people have thought of these days until now it's become something that people really care about.
Yeah, live streaming is definitely front and center. There are two modes of live streaming that we're dealing with, and one is similar to what we have right now, where we're using a collaboration tool that most people in business are well familiar with, where you pull up GoToMeeting or Zoom or WebEx, BlueJeans. There's many, and we're able to collaborate, have meetings, and you can be very productive in that mode. And so, in many cases. Something as simple as a small classroom, even medium-sized classroom, like a piano, guitar student, some of these things that are relatively intimate can be converted right into this type of format, and that's an easy one. That's a
Right.
turnkey. Just go to X website, download a trial, or get involved with an account, and we have incredible resources like what we're doing right now that enable us to collaborate on a small level. So I do find myself as a courtesy just saying, hey, you don't really need a live streaming platform for what you're doing in that case. You just need a tool.
Right.
So
But I
that
think
is part of the conversation. Yeah,
absolutely. And just like you're saying right now, we are using a couple different tools in order to have this conversation between you and me across the country.
true. Yeah,
But at the same time, I think there's a lot of companies that are saying, hey, wait a second, our tool could really employ live video streaming within our current infrastructure. They're starting to think about it as to say,
hmm,
we don't know how long this is going to last. And even once it's over, people may have adapted to a new way of now working. Maybe more people will start working from home because of this.
hmm.
So while there are tools, let's say on Slack or just conferencing tools like Zoom, they don't necessarily have the functionality that they want in place. And I wanted to get from you an idea of what your recommendations are in terms of how people can implement something quickly into, let's say, their current software as a service.
Sure. Yeah, and I need to be careful not to try to answer that in one lump, because there's different modes of doing exactly what you described. People that are event streamers are now realizing they really need to be event streamers, particularly in the enterprise space. I would say to a large enterprise, and I have, in fact, one category of people we're talking to are they're already Wowza users, for example. Large corporation, they may have a dozen Wowza servers that are employed for X size events. Well, then the CEO comes into this particular department and says, I want to talk to all 50,000 employees in 10 minutes. And these type of corporations can't afford to have a large scale of people hit an internet connection like a CDN or something as simple as like a YouTube Live, because it's not cost effective. They don't have enough bandwidth, so they need to leverage an infrastructure on-prem solution, which is one of the many specialties that Wowza provides. So in many cases, we're getting really creative with some of these large companies who say, I'm under heavy pressure to stream to a very large audience right now. And so some of those conversations are very productive, very honest. You know, in the case that I just mentioned, that's an actual real scenario. You can't stream to 50,000 people or 70,000 people off of 9 or 10 Wowza servers. The laws of physics, the capabilities of the servers demand a higher scale. So we talk about how to manage maybe incrementally streaming to different groups live in certain segments of their company population, or we actually get into some conversations about scaling up and adding more load balance server components. So there is a factor in the enterprise streaming world where they're realizing immediately that while they had a very, very capable streaming solution, they have to almost build it up tenfold. So that's a very interesting conversation that I think is will continue to develop with our existing and some of our customers that are just joining us.
I'm curious about existing customers that you're talking about right now, because I think in many cases, especially with live event producers, they're kind of looking at it as one live event at a time. They're not dealing with it on more of a larger business model where you're having 30, 40,000 live streams happening at the same time. In which case, certainly Wowza Streaming Cloud is a great solution to implement right away. But my curiosity is how many of these people are currently really utilizing our API to be able to automate all of the functionality.
Well, let's talk about what an API is.
Okay.
That term gets used generally. For me, an API is a command that tells a software component to do something. Start recording, stop recording. Using Wowza can sometimes be perceived as an API in and of itself. So when we talk about live event producers, one of the biggest problems they're having is they don't have any events. There's a scrambling right now in the gig space, the comedian, the musician, not notorious bands that you would hear on Top 40, but I'm talking about local bands, quote unquote. They've lost their income source because their gigs are gone, but they still want to participate and survive. And so you take an event producer for that segment.
Right.
They need to find a way to get a video that's live out there. One thing we're doing, you talk about API, one thing that we do with Wowza is we have a component in there that's called Stream Publisher. Right. And effectively what it does is it can take an MP4, something that's pre-recorded or recorded in a very small venue well within the compliance of isolation. And people are doing this. You record the video to MP4, load it up as a playlist in Wowza, and push it as if it was live to Facebook, to YouTube, to Wowza Streaming Cloud, to any other destination. And you gain the benefits of a real-time experience for people that are consuming the stream. So you get the live announcement on Facebook. You get the live announcement on YouTube. There's a sense of community and interaction because everything's happening real time. And the performers can actually interact with that pseudo live stream.
Right.
So it's not really ripping people off. What it's doing is it's taking away the obligation of a large gathering and kind of managing that into a scheduled performance. I got kind of excited there because it's something I'm actively working on with a couple organizations.
No, I see it on YouTube. No, I'm sorry, not YouTube. I see it on Facebook all the time, these video parties that they're talking about right now. And certainly, as you're even saying it, right, while a band's playing, they're not going to be interactive. They're not going to be chatting with people, but people can come on to that live stream and they can comment with each other and have a discussion while the band is playing. So you're right, It does create that interactivity that you didn't have in the past.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's an interesting, there are yoga, I thought of yoga. I just threw the word yoga out there. How about some yoga, Justin? Do I look like I do a lot of yoga?
Well,
don't answer that question.
Well, certainly the gyms are closed. My wife was just complaining about that, wanting to, join something online. So there is a big push, right? Yeah, people still have to monetize these things, and they need to be able to put them somewhere.
Oh.
So getting it online is big.
This is happening real time. My phone was buzzing in my pocket. I've got a missed call from one of my Wowza customers who runs a yoga studio in the San Francisco area. They have several yoga studios, and they're panicking because they're losing their income. And they fortunately have had Wowza recording their classes for they actually sell their classes online through this e-commerce solution that they have. Wonderful solution. And they're hitting me like, how do I get these files off the server? How do I do this? Because they're ramping up their Wowza usage because they need to maintain that income source.
Right.
So we're talking about a small business dramatically just dramatically affected by these isolation procedures, leveraging existing Wowza streaming engine to get it out to as many people possible. So that's one I'd love to go into detail on, but I know we're just chatting here today. But it's a real time thing. Small businesses that are operating need to get their content out, and you can't always just put it on YouTube or Facebook because you're giving away valuable content. So you need to use a system like Wowza Streaming Cloud, something that is it gives you a sense of ownership over the live stream.
That being said, I am going to be making a video very shortly for anybody who wants to watch it about how to do exactly what you're talking about. In my example, I'm going to be using OBS. Cool. I think it's a little bit of an easier tool because people can hook up whatever mics, whatever, even a couple different webcams to it to do different views. And then I'll show people how to stream from Wowza Streaming Cloud, which is easy plug and play to get up and running fast. And then go to their own website or YouTube or Facebook or all of them at the same time for that matter.
Check this out. They just announced yesterday, OBS, I believe, that they're now supporting SRT, Secure Reliable Transport. So for that internet-constrained first mile, SRT can be very, very helpful for that. And of course, Wowza Streaming Engine and Wowza Streaming Cloud support that. So I want to get in and try that SRT.
Yeah,
it's going to be,
I did not know
nice
that.
module.
Did they post that on their blog, or where did they post that?
One of our colleagues in Wowza posted that in one of our update channels, and I saw the headline. Unfortunately, I've been too busy to geek out on that, but SRT is a fantastic protocol. I'm really glad that it's got traction with OBS. It'll be good.
No, me too. I think that being able to fix that first mile is a big deal. Even now, as we're using these tools, I'm going to admit I'm seeing we're getting a little bit of you cutting in and out, and so solving those problems. Really? It could be your internet, could be my internet, who knows? But the point being, as we're talking about that streaming feed, right? Fixing that problem, the first mile is huge. Hey,
totally. On that topic, I was in a meeting this morning where Zoom completely failed. And I don't think it was Zoom's fault. I think it's the fact that as this working at home community grows exponentially, the infrastructure is going to groan a little. So using SRT would probably be a good measure to take.
It's nice to know that people are coming up with even better solutions. And I'm certainly, while I'm not condoning a pandemic, I'm just saying, though, at least in the wake of something like this, we're going to find better tools and better ways of utilizing those tools. So,
well, I want to say something, and this has to do with me interacting with people who need video now. I'm talking everyone from large EDUs, large corporations, to small. I hate to use the term ma and pa. It sounds condescending, but I don't mean it that way. But small businesses who depend on live content. The human spirit is there. People are very sober in the conversation, but they are so objective, so committed to getting this right. In the case of these large corporations, they're trying to save lives. We're trying to keep people at home and keep continuity going. So I take heart in the fact that while we're dealing with a terrible problem, we're at war with this virus.
Yeah,
people are trying, and I feel like it's our posture at Wowza to be helpful, and that's certainly my intent. I mean, I find a lot of I really enjoy working for a higher purpose. Let me just say that. And it feels good to be a tool among many tools and resources that can help our economy move forward and keep going in spite of this terrible challenge.
Yeah. I mean, not just the fact that we work at Wowza, but as a video producer, I have friends who are, videographers or directors of photography, and, they're losing gigs left and right. Right now, and it's a tough situation. And yes, certainly finding better ways of letting people monetize when they can't go out and go to work is helpful for everybody, including our economy. So,
well, I'll tell you what, Justin, that OBS video is going to be very helpful to a great many people.
Okay.
So I really look forward to having that as a resource that I can provide for people that need to get up and streaming now, because you or I could probably get into OBS and work our way around bit rates and keyframes and quality levels and URLs and ports and all that stuff very easily. the layperson, the business operator, the generalist,
Right.
they need a little help. So
And
that's going to be a great resource.
and certainly, it's a video to get people just up and running quickly, to show them the basics so that they know how to
Yep.
do it. Then they can start going in and figuring out, like you said, how to tweak things, how to create
Hmm.
lower latency for it. Many options,
Oh
obviously.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
Tim,
for sure.
I want to thank you for chatting with me today. I really appreciate it. I hope it helps some other people out there who are trying to figure out solutions, and let them know that we have one. So,
We're going to nail this one way or another. We'll
all
get it
right.
done. Thanks, Justin.
All right. Thanks, Tim. Take care.